unfortunately. But if you're just joining us, we are talking about the issue of police brutality in Nigeria, West Africa, and there have been pictures and videos of protests coming out from Nigeria in the past 1 week. And this is the reason why we're having this conversation. Now, it is about a special unit in the Nigeria Police Force, which is called the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. Now, this squad was put together to fight crime and criminality, but unfortunately, they have become a group of people who are targeting innocent Nigerians, killing, maiming, harassing, raping, and abusing even females, mothers and children, kicking pregnant women, all sorts of things. The Nigerians have had it. Nigerians decided to flood the streets of the country from different in all of the states, asking that this special unit be disbanded. Now, not just to end them, but they're also asking for police reforms, because it's not just this unit that is involved in police brutality, but then generally the police force has somewhat missed their mark in terms of policing. And I'm being joined once again by Taribo Joseph, who's a security consultant and an honor person, and also Gabriela Yamo, a broadcast journalist with Nigeria Info FM, Nigeria's #1 talk radio station. Now, today, protests have continued. Yesterday, literally all of the streets of Nigeria were locked, literally locked down. The toll gate, Lekki toll gate, which is on the expressway in Lagos, was shut down. So people had to look for alternative routes to get to work. And today the protest continues. But River State is our focus today. Well, we're talking about other states. River State is in the south of Nigeria. It is one of the all-rich states of Nigeria. It's more like the Texas of Nigeria. And the governor of that state yesterday put out a statement saying that all protests in terms of ending the special anti-robbery squad were suspended, and that if anyone went out for those protests, they would be doing that at their own risk. And this did not, it did not sit well with the people of River State. And initially, as at this morning, as at 8 a.m. this morning, it was very difficult to see anyone at the pleasure park. We just saw a handful of people who decided to brave it and show up for that protest. But over time, we saw the streets of Port Harcourt fill up with people who said they were not going to back down. And Taribo Joseph is one of those people who was at the protest. Now, Taribo, you were telling us just a few minutes ago that the governor finally, after pressure had been put on him, is speaking with the young people who are in front of Government House. Tell me about that.
Yes, yes. I already left before that happened. As a matter of fact, we were on before I saw the post that he finally came, and of course, young people are not so excited because of the whatever he's saying at this point in time, because we expected, like I've shared with some other persons, that we expected that he would have been part of this from the onset, that he would have supported us. So most of us came out because we believe that it was, as a matter of fact, a disappointment to us for the governor to tell us not to come out to protest. No, so that's why we were still able to go. So we just wanted to make our statement, and we're glad that we made it and our voice is being heard as at this point.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, I think that what is happening now is history in the making. We have never recorded a time where young people in Nigeria, in our generation, came together to fight for one just cause in one voice and in unity. So I think it's remarkable what is happening. I think it's beyond any political party or divide. It's beyond religious or ethnic differences at this point. I think right now Nigerians have been pushed to the wall so hard that we have come to a point where we can literally not take it anymore. So I see that this may not necessarily end until the demands of Nigerians are met to the letter. I mean, I'm quite impressed as to how Nigerians did not just begin to celebrate and rejoice when the IGP announced that the SARS FSARS had been dissolved. They went on to create a 5 point agenda as to things that they were demanding. So that obviously is to show that look, right now, Nigerian youth have woken up. Everyone is awake now. Nobody is ready to play politics. Nobody is ready to chase clouds. Everyone is literally tired of the abuse and harassment and the brutality by the security officials and that outfit specifically. And this is actually beyond SARS. You know, I've heard a lot of these protesters. I spoke to quite a number of them, not just here in Port Harcourt, but across the country, like in Abuja and Lagos. And the truth is, many of them are tired of the corruption. They're tired of the rot in the system. And this is just the beginning. I foresee that after this protest to end SARS and meet our demands as regards to security, there will be many more. There will be many more demands by the youth. I think we've come to realize that we have the power. We've come to realize that the power really lies within us, and we can actually demand for a government, for a system that actually works and actually gets it. And what happened in River State with a ban of all protest, and regardless, finding young people come out en masse to protest and demand for the governor to speak. And I mean, it's just great news to hear that the governor actually has come out to address the crowd. It's remarkable. It shows that look, whether or not you call out a ban, whether or not you kill us, whether or not you harass us, we will fight until we get what we want. It's history in the making, if you ask me. Right. Well, like I said, this is just the beginning. I think this is just the beginning. Yes. I went through the 5 points demand that Nigerians were demanding of the government as regards the police force specifically. But I think this is just beginning, and I think that was just a response to the 5 points that were released by the police force as to what they were going to do as regards the security unit. So this is just the beginning. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say, look, it's not just about the SARS, for instance. We're fighting corruption, and this is deeply rooted. I've had conversations about this all throughout the day, and one of the things that I find defined is the fact that this is deeply rooted. It did not begin with SARS. It did not begin with our police force. It began with a corrupt system. The government itself is rotten, and that needs to change. And it begins with what is going on right now. So I think this is just the beginning. I think that after now, there will be more demands by the young, by Nigerians. There'll be more demands from, as regards our educational sector. There'll be more demands for our healthcare system. There'll be more demands for our roads and infrastructure. There'll be more demands for agricultural sector. I mean, there will be more demands. That's what I think.
All right. Terrible. I'm putting the same question to you. I mean, I've seen all kinds of things. Thank goodness that we are having these protests. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I saw a post, and I'm going to put it up now. A young man who was asking, talking about bail and reforming the police, saying that the cells need to be reformed also because.
Okay. First of all, I would like to say now the perspective of the Nigerian force and with the citizens has to be addressed, right? First, the Nigerian police force needs to have value for life, as basic as it is, because if you know that every life matters, then you will honor us and you will treat us properly as citizens. You need to understand that everyone citizen of Nigeria and everyone resident in this country has the right to be treated with dignity. So these are little things that we don't need money, right, to start. So change in perception, a mindset shift. So they can go through this reorientation to change their mindset to know that every life is important and every life should not be treated badly and that you should honor us. What has started, just like Gabriela said, this is actually the beginning of sustainable change. It is beyond NSAS, right? It will take us to the point that we should be able to address every rot. So a simple thing like these police guys, are they being trained? What kind of value training are they given? What are their ethics? What is the perspective they have of Nigerians, right? So this should start. Then every public official should know that the power that you've been given is to serve citizens. So is the police really our friend or they are our enemy? How that mind shift can change. As simple as that we have a blueprint, that we have a working document. Then we look at the part. What is acceptable when you want to arrest someone? What is the right procedure to arrest somebody? If there is a crime, if you're interested and there's a suspect, now you don't have the right to barge on someone and put the person's life at risk. It's as simple as that. The third thing, how can the monitoring start? It is easy in other clients. Our police should be dressed properly, and there is nothing wrong with our police having the body cam on. Because if there must be ways to monitor this, our streets are not CCTV monitored, then let our police officers be monitored, right? We should have body cam. They should be equipped. When we know that this is a police officer, he should be identified immediately. Definitely, the good thing with this is it is already an existing technology. As a security consultant, I know it is available. We see it in other clients. So remember, I started with a mind shift, right? From the mind shift, there's so much. Let us look at the budget. What is in the budget for the police? And where is the money going? Let us follow the numbers. Let us follow the money. Where is the money going? Where is it stopping? How come the police, they are not properly dressed? Was that officer issued? Again, the monitoring, the evaluation, who is monitoring who? Who is supervising who? So that is a total overhaul, and it needs to start small, right? And it should increase. So we can't really give up, right? That's why I know that the NSAS protest is beyond shutting down SARS and putting them in other units, because the same people, you will see them coming up again. So everyone police officer, we want to see a working document that they have been evaluated mentally, psychologically. We want to see and know that they signed indeed that they are going to protect these citizens. Then how are they being prosecuted? There's nothing wrong with having every police officer with a visible tag. So if I don't see a police officer that can be identified, what should I do? Do we have a quick response from the police?
We asked for identification, and so what they resorted to doing is to hide their name tags. We see that every day. So when I'm saying identify yourself, I need to be certain that you're a police officer. I need to also know that you know what you're doing. They hide it because they know that what they're doing is contravening the law of the land.
Do you know some time ago, some years ago, the Nigerian army did this, and they enforced it, and they had officers that continued to follow this up. Your rank and your name at every point in time, if you're wearing the Nigerian army uniform, must be displayed. And believe me, you will be court-martialed if you don't have it displayed. So this was done with the Nigerian army. So it is also possible with the Nigerian police force. That's why if you see them properly dressed, right, you see the men of the Nigerian army, he's walking on the streets without the adequate tag. It is said that you are not properly dressed. And a senior officer can actually charge you. So this can be done in the police force. All we need is a restructuring, a reform to make sure that these things are enforced beyond being written down.
Play you a video of some of the protests. I want us to move our attention, because we're going to wrap up this conversation soon, to what happened in Cross River. Now, so many states are out on the streets. Young people are pushing and persevering against all odds. Cross River State had one protest yesterday in collaboration with other states. It ended up at the office of the governor. I spoke to a journalist from Cross River State earlier on today, and she said they showed up at Government House. Nobody came out to speak to them. They didn't get any response from the government. And today, nobody showed up for the protest. Now, it takes me back to that question that I asked earlier on about our staying power, us being able to persevere through this. Because again, maybe the silence of our leaders is because they know us too well that would make a bit of noise, and then afterwards, we just go back to status quo, and these men will be back on the streets before we know it. But let's take a look at that video, and then we'll come back and have that conversation. Now, those are young people in Cross River State protesting in front of the office of the governor. Nobody showed up to speak with them. Nobody gave them a response. And one would think that maybe this is responsible for the fact that nobody showed up for the protest today. Gabriela, what do you think? Are we protesting because we want to hear from a governor? Or we want to hear from our leaders? I mean, I know that the governor plays a huge role in speaking to the commissioner. He's the number one chief security of a state. But is this enough reason for the youth in Cross River State to step back and say, you know what, it doesn't even matter?
I don't think it's enough reason. I mean, let's look at what's been happening in Lagos, for instance, for the past few days. I know that when the protest just begun, a lot of Lagosians were harassed, some were arrested, some were injured, they were shot at and slept out, overnight on the grounds, on the streets. and still showed up the next day. I mean, that's the definition of resilience. And even though they did not get the response or the reaction from the government that they wanted for 3 days and counting, they still kept coming out and kept demanding that the president of the country speak. And eventually he did speak. So, I mean, that's a clear case of resilience. I don't think that it's enough reason that, because the governor of Cross River State did not, come out to address them, or any representative for that matter, come out to address them. I don't think that's enough reason for them to have a setback and just give up that easy. I mean, if you look at what's been going on in Abuja and Lagos, for instance, that is enough motivation. And even though I know that police brutality across the country has been quite the thing in every state, but perhaps another reason that might have influenced their actions today might have been basically because they haven't recorded the high number of cases of police brutality, as Lagos has recorded, as Port Harcourt, River State has recorded. So I mean, if you're hardly hit with a crisis, you would be more resilient than someone who is just a supporter. So I think perhaps that might be a factor. But regardless, this is a fight for us all as Nigerians, because it may not be you today, it may not be you tomorrow, but you never know. It's not even a question of if anymore. It's not a question of when. So I mean, this is a fight for us all. I don't think that should have been enough reason to give up that easy.
Interesting. I want to take you guys to Port Harcourt and everyone who's watching us. Hello, Pablo. Hello, Tolu. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Frank Lenz. Thank you very much for joining us. I want to take you from Calabar, where the young people protested yesterday and then they shut it down. Let's take you to Port Harcourt, where they have really been hardly hit by staff operations. Take a look at how they responded to the protest.
Yes. So the truth is, this campaign, this protest will continue. It will continue until, as a matter of fact, the our value system as a people change. It will continue until police brutality will end. SARS was at the height of it, but it's beyond SARS. So if we're having a protest now, and innocent Nigerians are still being shot, it means the protest needs to continue. If we're having a protest and we still have our citizens being abused, it means this protest will have to continue until we drive the message home. The truth is, we are learning to use our voice. No one expected that Nigerians would get to this point. So even if there's a break at some point, if this continues, those protests will come, because for the first time, we have come to learn that, okay, we have a voice and we can speak with one voice. And this voice we will use for a long time. The youths are awake now and they will use this voice. So there might be a break, but this protest is not going to end so soon. We might go on a break, but this protest will continue until we see a visible change. Not like Nigerians will say, not audio promises, not any audio change, but real change and a plan to see that things indeed are beginning to change. So we will want to see the president act. We want to see the National Assembly act, and we want to see the Inspector General of Police act, because all the men that have been redeployed to other units, that is not going to change it. There are still going to be monsters coming up on the streets with another name, maybe properly dressed, but still brutalizing citizens, and we're not going to stand for that.
What I would like to say is, congratulations to us all. I mean, it's been a long time coming, and I mean, I would never have imagined I would live at a time where this would happen. Where we would actually come up with one voice. I would like to congratulate every single protester who has been courageous and bold enough to come out and stand for what they're demanding. I mean, look at the case of what's going on in Lagos, where a couple of lives have been lost. There were people who were standing beside Jimoh, for instance, when he was killed. They came out again the next day. That's resilience. That is the never dying spirit. So I would encourage everyone who is coming out to protest right now. We all are in spirit, even though we have to be in the studio to work and cover what's going on across the country. But we all are together in spirit, pushing for a new Nigeria, pushing for change. And I'll just say, look, you are making and forming a new Nigeria. You are part of the process. You are part of history. We're literally creating a new Nigeria. That is what is going on now. This is a change that has just begun. And it's going to tell in our history. It's going to go down in history that at some point in October 2020, you stood up for your country and demanded for a new Nigeria. That is remarkable. That is historical. So we are all going down in history as the true Nigerians who stood out for what we wanted, for a better Nigeria. So I'll just encourage everyone who's out there protesting across Nigeria, here in Port Harcourt, in Abuja, Ibadan, Lagos, across the country, wherever you might be, don't stop. We are together in this. We are creating a new Nigeria, and the world is watching. We are literally making history together. So let's make it worth it.
To be alive. I never thought that I would see this in my lifetime, that Nigerians would grow some and hit the streets and say, you know what, enough is enough. This generation has finally decided that, we're no longer going to rest on our oars. And I wish everybody luck. Please be safe out there. And don't forget that there's help for anyone who's protesting. Hospitals know that they have a right to treat you constitutionally. They're not supposed to refuse to treat you because you have a gunshot wound. Now, a lawyer, a human rights lawyer, has said that, look, as we protest, let us note that by virtue of the Compulsory Treatment Act and Care of Victims Act of 2017, every hospital, a doctor, and police officer is under compulsory duty to treat and care for victims of gunshots. Asking for police reports before treatment is illegal. So, we know that a lot of people are in the line of fire. People have gotten hit. People were battered. Hospitals are allowed to treat these people and not ask for police reports. We know how it is. People have died because hospitals refuse to treat them, waiting for a police report. And we're trying to put an end to all of this. So I want to thank you guys. Thank you, Taribo. Thank you, Gabriela. This is a very interesting conversation that we've had, and we're going to continue having this conversation because we do not want to stop. We won't stop. We can't stop. We're all in this together. and we deserve to be served and protected. Thank you. Taribo Joseph is a security consultant operating from River State, South Nigeria. Gabriela Anyao is a broadcast journalist on Nigeria's #1 talk radio, Nigeria Info FM in Port Harcourt, 92.3. Thank you so much, guys. See you soon. We'll continue following this story. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Miriam.
you.
And thank you, everyone who watched us. Thank you all, those who watched us from outside the country, all those who participated, those who asked questions. The process is happening everywhere in the country. It's happening in the southwest, the south, the east, the middle belt. We're all in the streets. We're asking for our rights, and of course, we deserve it. And we're going to get it if we continue to stand our ground. My name is Mary Anacone. We'll be back same time next week with conversations. I might be back within the week with updates on the protests in Nigeria. All we need you to do is lend a voice to this fight against police brutality in Nigeria. Just hashtag EndSARS. That's ENDSARS hashtag, and just support us as we continue to push for good governance and accountability in our dear country. Have a good evening.